Okay, so Prison Epistles. Okay, so just to give you some background knowledge about Paul, he was a man who persecuted Christians before coming to faith to Jesus. And Jesus, on the road to Damascus, he was a Roman citizen, which helped him get out of a lot of tight spots. He was a Jewish law expert, so he understood the Jewish law, and so he spread the gospel to the Gentiles. So through his life and before coming to Christ, he became what I would call uniquely qualified to be the one to spread this news to the rest of the world. Right? He is somebody who could stand and say, "Hey, look, I was this way before Christ, and now I'm not." Right? So he was able to provide this stark contrast between, "Hey, before Christ, I was this murderer, killer, you name it." Right? But now I'm in Christ. I'm free to serve Him. And so that's the beauty of Paul's life right there, right? So let's talk about some of his prison epistles. Paul spent plenty of time in jail because he spread the good news of Christ. The first one we're going to talk about is Colossians. This was a church in Colossus. It was written between 61 and 63 AD from Rome when he was in prison. Some of the issues addressed is that Christ is God. We do not need man-made religious ceremonies to be made right with God. And the Colossian heresy. So he had it coming from both ends: the pagan influence of asceticism, or the harsh treatment of the body to control lust, and Jewish ceremonies like circumcision, right? So he had it coming from both ends, both the pagans and the Jewish background. And he was able to say, hey, look, it's only through God the Christ that we are set free. We don't need these religious ceremonies. We just need Christ. Okay? Moving forward to Philemon. This was a church, and also to the church in Colossus. This was written between 61 and 63 AD, once again from Rome. So, um, this was a letter that the entire church read. Um, Basically, Onesimus was a runaway slave who met Paul and was converted to Christ. Paul was writing to encourage Philemon to take him back. Okay, and running away from one's master in this time could constitute death. And so, what Paul did very wisely was wrote this to the entire church, not just to Philemon, and said, "Hey, look, he's with me. He was with me, and please forgive him." And so it put Philemon on the spot and allowed allowed Onesimus the chance to be able to be reconciled. And so, this is one of the probably I think this is the shortest book in the Bible, and yeah, it shows some of the conflict resolution and other issues just firsthand how you can manage that. Moving forward to Ephesians, this was written once again to churches around Colossus. I think there's a typo here, but this was written to the church in Ephesus. This was written to the church in Ephesus. That is a typo. Um, this was written in 60 AD, once again from Rome, and the purpose was uh, the issues addressed was God's purpose, how He directs us in our walk with Him, and Christian conduct, how to live as Christians. So it's usually split into two parts. The first part is usually a little more theological, and the second part is more practical. And finally, we get to Philippians. This was the recipients were the church in Philippi. Once again, written between 61 and 63 AD, and from Rome. And this is thanking the church for their generosity, encouraging the church, and finding joy in the difficult circumstances. Just give you a snapshot of Philippi. This was a very patriotic city, so they would not have taken kindly to Christians here in this community. This was a church mainly composed of women. Um, they were very patriotic and a naturalistic city. So, um, this was a church made up of women, and so one of the beautiful things about Philippians is that it is an epistle of encouragement. There's not a lot of negative things to say. So it encourages the believers not only in their time but in our time. And I know that through some of my battles with anxiety and some of the mental health struggles that I faced, I found comfort in this book and some of the words that Paul has written about finding joy in the Lord, rejoice in the Lord always. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? And knowing that, hey, even though, hey, Paul was stuck in a prison, I can deal with this. Okay. So, anyway, that is the Prison Epistles. Thank you for watching.